The best way to describe the start of girls' sports at Hall High School would be as a roller coaster. Many girls were picking up an organized sport for the first time. Some came with a lot of experience and a deep desire to just get going and play. At other times, we had to recruit kids for sports in which they had never participated. Although it was a slow start for some girls in sports at Hall, once we got it, we got it. As far as the start of sports at Conard, the female student athletes hit the ground running. I think that if they could have played a game the night the board included girls' sports in the budget, they would have. We understood that everything wouldn't happen overnight, but our girls could finally play in an established interscholastic program. We kept the focus on what was most important, and that was providing the best experiences in sport for our girls. We felt great cooperation from our male coaching colleagues. There were struggles along the way, as would and should be expected, but those early years are all filled with happy memories. Together with Karen Roberts, Justine Clark, Sally Warren, and Marion Berlin, we laid the foundation. We planted the seeds in the garden together. We were there to welcome the new coaches who came shortly after us to join the coaching ranks and to pass the torch to the ones who would carry on the work.
I started at Conard, believe it or not, as a very excited student teacher in the fall of 1972. And let me tell you, I wasn't there a day when I went back to Springfield College and told them that I was student teaching in heaven.
I started off as the first Conard swim coach, and then also that same year in 1973, the first Hall gymnastics coach. I think it was developing a whole culture to know that we were just as important as the boys were, and where the boys had to go to practice every single day and they were seeking scholarships and notoriety, so too were the girls.
They really did want to be there, and they were terribly upset if they couldn't be there, and that they were so proud and happy to have the opportunity that it was never to be missed. We had to sort of work our way through when a basketball game was going on that the wrestling team wasn't practicing down at that end, like yelling and whistles, and it definitely took a while. But that's okay. And you know, I would say that, to be honest with you, in the beginning, that did not bother our players one bit.
The first years for the swim team were extremely challenging for many reasons. West Hartford's Cornerstone Pool was the worst pool in the state. No one wanted to swim there, but it was all we had. With no energy-absorbing lane lines, I was always surprised that the poor swimmers in lanes 1 and 6 didn't drown. Because of the town shut Cornerstone down for the entire month of September, the swim team swam outside at Eisenhower Pool. Thankfully, nothing was going to stop these athletes. I told them it was a polar bear plunge 4 months early. Practice time for most swim teams was 2 hours a day because they had their own pools. Hall and Conard each got only 55 minutes a day. It didn't matter. We still won league titles due to the girls' determination.
I had a couple kids who were free 8th period, our last period of the day. And then Justine Clark, who taught at Conard, she showed me where this old chalk liner was. And the girls went out and we had strings, and honestly we can see the bus with the other team dropping their kids off and oh, Miss Beanie, hurry up, you know. Good days, but those are the things that took a little bit longer, I'd say, for us over at Conard.
Probably the biggest obstacle was dealing with the Good Old Boys network. Some, not all, of the male coaches did not like sharing facilities or practice time.
It did take a while to really begin to bring us into getting all the girls' varsity sports on campus, getting them all on proper, safe regulation fields, having all of those same things provided for.
Then something amazing happened. The town hired Susie Denoffel to be the first female athletic director in West Hartford's history. If anyone could fight for and win equality, that would be Susie.
As the program grew, so too did the budget for uniforms, warm-ups, and equipment. Equally as significant was the growth and eventual equity in the use of the facilities, the time for games from after school to the evening basketball games, and full immersion into our then league, the CCIL. Over time, salaries for coaches and their assistants became equitable as well.
Sports, if they're done right, are so fundamental to the development of adolescents. If you have the right leaders, male or female, then you're going to be blessing them with the best lessons. It's the life lessons, it's the experience, it's the process that makes a difference in all their lives.
I think that being supportive of each other, taking pride in everything that you did, knowing that you were representing not just yourself and not even just your teammates, but your school and your community.
It created a mission for me, so here I am 49 years later, and it's almost hard to leave because it's been a mission. It's been a big part of me of how important women's sports, girls' sports in high school is to enable them to be the best version of themselves, like not just in sports, but just in their whole being.
How can you leave it a little better than you found it? You know, what will you be leaving here that when the next kids come, I wanted them to embrace that responsibility for what they could do for the future, just as people had done for them in the past. You know, that this was not a one and done, but rather like a story of the way it would be.